Jared went on vacation and apparently spent the first couple of hours apologizing profusely to everyone in the airport and all around.
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I took, the 3 kids, Ava, Eli, and Ezra. And as you know, I'm a single dad. I recently
That's right.
divorced for the second time.
Yeah.
Quite the resume. Anyway. That's the first time flying with all 3 kids by myself.
That is stressful AF.
Wow.
And Ava and Eli were great. Ezra's only 2, so I can't fault him. But we get to PTI, and fly easy. We're right in. We're at the gate.
Sure.
Try timing out so Ezra had very limited time to be a 2-year-old in the airport. And so we have limited time. I'm like, okay, perfect. But still, there's like 30 minutes before we board, at least. And so we're kind of sitting in our area, and I was like, all right, got the tablet, downloaded all his favorite shows and movies, so when you're in the air, it doesn't matter. I said, Eli, hand me his tablet. And he looks in my bag, not there. He goes, oh, yeah, I took it out because it's his old tablet. He's like, I was looking at it. I was like, oh, what'd you put on here?
Gosh.
Left it on the couch.
No.
So the whole thing to distract him, gone. Gone.
Yes.
So then Ezra decides that now it's time to play track and field. He's running all over the airport.
Oh, my gosh.
Even running like back through like security. Like I'm like, Ava, and I can't run. He's like going back through it, and I'm like, no. And Ava's like, I'll get him, and running, and he's faster than we all think. And so it's like really close to running back into security. And then everyone is staring at us because we're the only ones with a 2-year-old on this plane.
Yeah.
That's going to fly. And so he comes back, and I'm trying to calm him down. I'm like, do you want to watch? Because I did download some stuff on my phone just in case. You want to watch Bluey? No! Like, all his favorite shows. Like, you want to watch Forky?
Yeah.
As
No.
you know, from
Toy Story
4.
Wasn't he a little distracted knowing that he's going on the plane and all that?
No, and he calls it a spaceship, or a rocket ship, or the Buzz ship, like Buzz Lightyear. And I said, oh, look, there's the Buzz ship. Yes, you're distracted for 2 minutes.
2 seconds. Yeah, they don't care.
And then he's right back to, doing, and I don't blame him, he's 2. But I don't want to ruin other people's experience. And, you could tell people are trying to be nice, but he's like running up to people, like, messing with their stuff, like pushing their luggage over.
Right.
I'm like, no. I say, yeah, he's excited to fly. And people are like, just don't talk to me.
Like, it's cute for a second, and then you just get annoyed.
You just
We've
get
all
annoyed.
been there.
You get annoyed.
Yeah.
And then, we have, the carry-on cases, like the hard shell ones. He knocks mine over. He's dragging it everywhere. He's playing it like the drums, super loud.
Oh, yeah.
And then after I try to pull him away, he's like, no, ah! And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. And of course, my face is red. I'm sweating profusely. We get on.
I can picture
We
it.
get on the plane, and it's so cute. Ezra, he's like, hug, when he wants me to pick him up. And so I pick him up, and I'm trying to scan all the stuff to get in, to get on the plane. Get on the plane. We sit down. I'm like, okay, we're going to take off here in like 10 minutes. Perfect. 30 minutes go by.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, we're having a problem with the fuselage. I'm like, okay, great.
Wow.
60 minutes go by.
Oh,
and
no.
like he's irritated. Even the adults are like irritated.
What's happening?
This is American
Yeah.
Airlines, has nothing to do with the airport. American Airlines, something happened, whatever. And they got to be safe. So Ezra is taking the tray in front of him, up and down, up and down, up and down. And there's a older lady sitting in front of him, and she's like looking back at me. I'm like, what do you want me to do? I can't. I'm trying to do it. He's like, no. Anything I try to stop him to do, he would yell like super loud.
So you have to pick one or the other.
One or the other. And I'm like, all right, put it down. And he's putting it back up. Put it down. Then he starts kicking the back of her seat over and over again. His legs are just long enough to make impact.
Perfect.
Great.
Just long enough so I take his shoes off so he can barely like get his toes on it.
Yeah.
Do. Then Eli's stressed out. He's like, Dad, make him stop. I'm like, I'm trying. And, so then I'm like trying to balance this. And Ava's, she's willing to help, but there's only so much you can do. So after 90 minutes, like the captain comes on. It's like, sorry, we're going to have to get off the plane.
Oh,
deplane.
no.
What?
No.
At that point, I thought, just cancel the trip.
Oh, I was going to say
Oh,
drug
really?
him. Is that not a...
I was like, you know
Okay.
what? I love my brother Izzy. We're going to Alabama and Florida.
Yeah.
I said, I love him to death and his family, and we want to see the cousins. But you know what?
At
we
this
could do
point-
it. We could do it another time. 'Cause
Sure.
I'm like beyond stressed out. We haven't even started. We have a
Well,
layover.
you do have Ava helping you. She's she's old enough, right?
It's not. Yeah, she was tremendous on the trip. And everything, the whole trip helping out, and Eli too.
It's just he's 2.
He's 2, and you would have him like stuff he's not supposed to do. He would scream so loud that everyone's looking. There's nothing, and then he's at the age where he can communicate a little bit, but doesn't understand something like Ezra. You can't do this. Shh, let's be quiet. Doesn't understand that. Doesn't understand being quiet or anything. So then people are like, there's some noise. So we get off the plane. And we don't know. And then they're like, oh, you might have to rebook. And then they're saying you can rebook for maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, at that point.
no.
I'm like,
What time was this?
Our flight was supposed to leave at, I think, 7:30. So now it's
In
like
the morning?
9. Yeah, in the morning.
They should have other flights taken to a connector. Is it going to Charlotte?
Going to Charlotte, yeah.
Charlotte's a hub. They have flights the whole day.
Yeah, they had the next flight for where we were going was the next morning.
Okay.
And I'm
Oh
like,
my
really?
gosh.
Yeah. And
so I'm about to book it, because I'm here at the airport, even though I live 10 minutes away from the airport. I'm like texting my mom and brother, like, so come pick us back up. We're just going to leave tomorrow. And they said, all right, we got everything fixed. Everyone back on the plane. I'm like, oh, thank goodness.
Never mind.
And
Thank
in the
goodness.
back of my head, I would be like, did they really get it fixed?
I know. Right.
Yes.
Yeah, so we get back on the plane, and Ezra's going through this. Or before we get back on the plane, so we're eating. We got a little something to eat, and then he's at the stage now, and it's he's a boy where he likes to throw things
For sure.
and so what he does. So I'm already sweating, like trying to pick him up and hold him and stuff, and people are still looking at us. He takes my hat off.
Oh, no. Oh,
Which
no.
is not good.
No.
Not good. I've
Sure.
been shaving my head recently, but I haven't shaved my head and I haven't cut my hair in like 2 weeks.
Like you were prepared for the next couple days to just have the hat
Just
on.
have the hat on all the time.
Yeah, sleep in it, all of it.
Even at the beach, just keep the hat on at all times. And so I'm sweating, takes the hat off. I'm like a wet chia pet, but like a sparse one. Like it hasn't fully grown in yet.
Just seated.
And he takes my hat and he thinks it's funny. He takes my hat. Ezra takes my hat. He's 2. And he throws it like over this partition.
Oh,
So I can't just go reach it. I have to like go like, Ava, can you go get my hat? And I'm like trying to like smile, like, no, everything's fine.
It's fine.
Everything's
Sure,
fine.
everything's
Then I
fine.
put it back on. He's like, Daddy, hat off. Daddy, hat off. And so I have to turn my hat on backwards. And so he's like trying to rip through my forehead to get my hat off because he can't grab the bill because it's on. Now I'm wearing my hat backwards to look like a jackass. Even more so in the thing. So we get on the plane and we go to our connecting flight. So now we're in Charlotte. The flight's 20 minutes.
You're right.
And so we're like, oh. And so we get to Charlotte and we're there, and I get them some more snacks because
did you miss the connecting flight? Though?
No,
Because-
luckily we didn't. We had
Wow.
like a 4-hour layover in Charlotte. I'm like, what?
Who booked that?
I did.
Duh.
The prepared parent did.
Yes.
What
I looked at every flight. I'm like, I just booked it on whatever the cheapest one was. I
Yeah,
didn't care.
that's cheap for a reason.
You have to sleep in Charlotte for the night and then wake up tomorrow.
I went the next day.
This is perfect. And so we get there and get him some snacks and everything. And he's sitting in a seat, like where you're waiting at your gate, his own seat. I'm sitting next to him. Ava and Eli are eating food at this other place, like right across from us. And, it's like a Sprite. And 2 seconds later, he knocks it over. And I've never seen more Sprite come out of a 20-ounce bottle than on the person to our left.
No.
So all over his leg, his pants are
Oh my gosh.
soaked. And then the bottle like flips a couple times. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
it's like happening in slow motion. The bottle's flipping several times over, and Sprite's going everywhere. This guy's drenched. And I'm like, no,
my
I'm
God.
sorry. And he's like, no, I got kids. I get it. He was super nice.
Oh, thank
He's
goodness.
like, I get it. And I'm like, okay. And then he's like, excuses himself, and he comes back. And he's wearing shorts. He like changes. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And that's not Ezra's fault. And then he takes like his
That's
cheap.
why I always have backup stuff. Gotta always bring backup clothes, underwear.
Well,
sneakers.
I mean, you never know. You never know.
No, and then he had like Cheez-Its and somehow that gets dumped all over the floor. I mean, everything's a mess, and I'm like trying to get on the ground and pick it up, and he's running around, and he's running down the in the airport. I'm like, go get him! And I'm like picking up Cheez-Its. This guy's soaked in Sprite. And then we get on our flight.
I'm like so stressed out for you.
Yes.
Yeah. And we get on the connecting flight, and we're the last ones on because I was just trying to like just wait to be the last ones on. And I am standing there holding Ezra. He's irritated at this point, and he's like halfway like whining, and then he's trying to take my hat off again, and he does take my hat off again, and he throws it and lands on somebody's lap while we're like you're standing there waiting. And like people are putting their suitcases up in the overhead compartment.
Yes.
And it's not moving. I'm just standing there.
Yep.
And then some guy, we see like, our seats, we're like row 30 something. We're at the very back of the plane because it's cheap.
You sure?
And a guy gets up like at row 12, and he's like, oh, I'm in the wrong seat. So he's walking towards us.
Oh gosh.
The aisle's blocked. And so he's trying to get around us. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Some other girl's like, can you move? Because we got to get. I'm holding my carry-on case, and I'm holding Ezra. I got a backpack on. Ava's like, I don't know what to do. And so then the guy goes by, and we go and we get to our seats. I'm get ready to get to our seats, and there was a flight attendant there, and I go, she said, "Oh, you need to put your bag in this overhead compartment here." And I said, "Hey," because he won't let me put him down. Ezra's like, if I put him down, he's going to start screaming. I said, "Is there any way that you can put it up there?" Well, I'm not doing that.
Why?
And I was like, "Is that against regulations for a flight attendant to like not put the bag?"
I don't know.
I see them moving.
Doing it.
Moving
Yeah,
them.
they adjust them all the time because 'cause sometimes the way it fits better in certain of the bins.
Yeah.
I see them
Yeah.
adjusting it.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay. And she was like, well, you can put him down right, like a seat that was empty right in front of it. And I was like, so you can't put it up there? No, it looks heavy. I go, it wasn't heavy. It has my clothes and it's a carry-on case. It's not heavy at all.
She looked at you and she was like, wait, his clothes are going to be real heavy. I can't.
And I'm like, and I'm seriously sweating at this point.
Yeah.
And it's just, ugh. And so I sat Ezra down, so he starts like crying, and then I'm putting the overhead thing on. And it was like kind of the aisle seat, like where you can save the plane if it crashes. You know, they say
Emergency.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, oh, can I sit here? Because it's empty. Like, oh, no, you can't sit here because you have a kid. So I already sat down with him. I had to get back up and then find my seat. And that was just the beginning of 2 or 3 more flights. And it happened on every single flight.
Because you went to Florida first?
Florida first.
And then you got on another flight and went to Alabama?
No, we drove to Alabama. They only live like an hour from there.
Oh, did you rent a car or something?
No, my brother picked me up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we had, then the vacation was great, and Ezra was great. And actually, when the plane took off, it was like nothing. He was totally fine. Except for on the way home, we had like this college girl that was in the window seat, and Ezra was in the middle. And then the whole time he wants to like lay down, so he's like kicking her.
Oh.
He's like grabbing her shirt and stuff. I'm like, so I'm like trying to like grab his hand without touching her shirt. Like I don't want to, like I'm not trying to touch you. I'm like, I'm sorry. His feet are on her legs. I'm like, no, Ezra. And I'm like grabbing his shoe, but I'm almost touching her leg. I'm like, I'm not trying to. Like, no, it's fine. But she has her her earbuds in or earbuds in, and she's like, no, it's fine. But she just looked straight ahead the whole flight. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe next year is a better time to fly it. And it's not.
I don't think I've ever sweat like that on a plane, though. Was it hot or something?
Stressed out.
I was stressed out.
Yeah.
I
No.
don't sweat like that ever. Stressed.
Well, that's good for you.
Yeah, good for you. Dude, I sweat no matter what, but I was sweating big time, and I just felt red.
And once you start sweating, I feel like you can't
No,
stop.
Can't stop.
You don't just turn
Oh,
that
yeah.
off.
No,
No.
absolutely not.
Next time, for real though, maybe a little bit of Dramamine. Maybe just a little.
That's
you
what
know?
people were saying. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Or Benadryl.
Yeah. Or Benadryl.
Melatonin.
Sure.
Yeah.
And again, not his fault.
Yeah.
He's 2.5, but man, I was
Whew.
so stressed out. And then Eli at one point was like, hey, we just go home. I just want to go home. I'm like, you're not helping.
Did you
You're
look?
11. You're not helping.
Did you look at Eli and say, "This is your fault for taking the tablet out"?
You're right.
Yeah.
I did at one point. I was like, seriously, the
And
tablet?
is that a typical 2-year-old? Is that typically how they act? I can't remember. I thought I landed on a plane once at 2, and he was just walking around with me, but I could be wrong. He might have been 4.
We flew when our kids were that, but we had the tablet.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
their iPad. So I don't know. I don't even think that they registered that we took off or landed because they were glued.
If
and,
we weren't
you know,
delayed, I think it would have been
Yeah.
totally different. I mean, the running around is I get because kids just run. They don't. Want, he's not going to sit in a chair at the gate for
No.
an hour, or if he has the tablet really screwed everything up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I don't think it was anything unusual except for being delayed.
Was that his first flight?
No, he flew
No,
when he
he
was like
didn't.
a year old to
Okay.
Disney, but you can hold him at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also had the tablet, and he was kind of looking at that and the snacks and all
and
that.
all the snacks. Every
Right.
snack you can imagine.
And at that time, planes were taking off when they're supposed to. So
Right.
you get on, you kind of time it out. We're going to sit down and we're going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And not sitting on a plane for 90 minutes, then getting off, then getting back on, all that stuff.
I'm surprised you booked a layover for 4 hours when you had all the kids.
Next time he'll
Yeah,
go.
it's crazy.
No.
It
Jared
says the
looked at price.
duration.
Yeah, I looked at price.
Yeah.
And I saw price and when we'd get to Florida. And we're going to get to Florida at like 12:50. I'm like, okay, we got the whole day.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't look at the 3-hour and 56-minute layover in Charlotte.
And there's only so much airplane for airport food you can eat, you know?
Well, and which actually worked out, the planing thing, because it at least kept us busy because we're like, what's going on? All these announcements. By the time we landed in Charlotte, we only had to wait for like 45 minutes.
That's good.
Right.
That's good.
You know, we almost missed our flight. I mean, it made
it's
it
fine.
much more. And then I don't even understand people that even work in airports anymore because no one's happy. I don't see anyone that's happy in an airport.
Yeah.
Is there anyone that's happy
I
when they're in an
don't
airport?
think so.
Like flying should be exciting.
Well, the airline
Adults
people.
are
Yeah.
the airline people are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like because something goes wrong, then people are complaining, and then Every gate said delayed, 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 delayed. Every place we went,
gosh.
delayed, delayed.
Yeah.
Every single place we went to was delayed. Atlanta, Charlotte, Greensboro, and also Panama City. All the flights were delayed.
I just go into the airport thinking that they've heard it all a million times. And so I think we all think our situation is so, because we don't do it every day.
Right, exactly.
But they've heard it a million times, probably that day alone. And so I think maybe they're just like, okay, let's get it moving.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
will tell you this, though. If your plane was not delayed, PTI is the easiest place
Oh,
to
the
fly.
easiest.
so easy.
Yes.
Because the parking garage is right there. You just go right across.
You know they have valet. yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, Katie.
Katie.
Listen, if you've
Always
ever been
fine.
flying by yourself as a woman,
That's only for the private jet.
I'm
part.
just saying. No, I've never flown a private jet. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like $20.
Bro, PTI is just so easy.
I know, but if you're ever running real late or you get in really late at night by yourself,
Yeah.
That
good.
is nice.
It's
Well,
good to
yeah.
know.
I will say this: Charlotte is a nightmare, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to remote park
Mm-hmm.
and take a bus to get to the airport.
Oh, yeah,
No,
yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
And Raleigh can be a little iffy, too. Not
Yeah.
as bad.
Better, though.
Better,
Sure.
though.
better, but still.
Busy, though.
Busy.
Yes.
If you, yeah. Because it's like, you're supposed to get there an hour early for domestic or 2 hours before international. At PTI, you can get there like 5 minutes before.
Yes.
And you're in and out. I mean,
Yes.
you're just going boom. Any other place is risky, like flying out of Orlando or flying
Well,
to
you know,
Atlanta.
they have that thing now. You can get it. I know it's expensive, but it's like $100. You book the appointment. It's good for 5 years. You just
Oh my gosh, and my friend just
you
did
just
that.
go right in that other sideline and you're on.
Isn't it called like global entry?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. Like, I'm about to do it.
Yeah.
'Cause I just saw people. One time we were in the Raleigh airport and the line was so long.
So long. Raleigh Airport, it's crazy.
I
the
couldn't
lines.
believe it. And there was just people just go right through. You don't have to take your shoes off, nothing. You go through a little checkpoint, you're in.
You have
Is
to have
it
it. You have to do
TSA
it.
pre-check?
It skips that.
It's different.
It skips
it's different
Yeah,
Wow.
it
than
skips
that.
that. You have to go. My friend Blair just did it, and you go. She had to actually book an appointment that she's been waiting for a very long time. But they travel a lot, and she went to Charlotte for this interview. You have to do an interview. I mean, clearly because they're making it super
they have it
easy for
here.
you to
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
It's easy for you to go in and out. And so she said it's good for 5 years. I think it was $100.
Yep.
And she said if you do any travel outside of the country, it pays for itself.
I'm wondering.
Well,
so
$100 bucks.
Yeah, $100.
The other
5 years.
airports outside of the country, like Cancun, will accept that, or is it just domestic?
I don't know.
I
No,
don't
no, I
either.
think it is. No, it's because for global entry,
It
it's
is?
for any
That would be amazing
because you
because
skip customs and
I was
stuff.
like, Carol, we got to do this. She's like, I don't know, that's $100, which was a surprise. But
I've heard it's worth it.
I was like, okay, then I'm doing it. I'll see you on the plane when I get there.
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
actually happened to her. Her boyfriend went through and she was like, "Whoa." She got held up and he was like, see you later. So he went and sat down and did work and she was like, oh God, I got to get this. That's
Yeah.
what she did. Well, and we just flew out of Raleigh like a month ago when we were headed to Austin. We had a 6:00 flight. And so Ben's dad dropped us off at 4:30 in the morning. It was like rush hour
Yes.
traffic at
Yes.
4:30 in the morning. It was crazy.
The longest lines ever.
Shockingly,
Yes.
Raleigh is the lines are huge.
Well, we went to Orlando. We flew out of Raleigh. Remember, it was a couple years ago?
Yes. Yes.
And we saw one of my friends that I grew up with, and the lines are insane.
Yeah.
I mean, they keep it moving, but it's like you can't show up. You can't be close there, or you're going to
I
miss your
showed
flight.
up an hour and a half or 2 hours early because the international flight to Mexico. We were the only ones in the entire airport and sitting there waiting.
Yeah,
and
at
then
PTI.
literally like 15 minutes, they open up thing, and everybody gets on. I'm like, I could just show up in the Greensboro one, like 15 minutes for an international flight.
Yeah.
sometime.
And they're friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.